Well, joining me now, Congressman Jim Jordan, the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, member of the Judiciary Committee, co-founder of the influential House Freedom Caucus, great American. Good to have you with us. Congressman,
good to be with you, though.
As we are watching McCabe on this book tour, this confession tour, whatever you want to call it, we are learning that the Gang of Eight was right up to date, brought up to date by the FBI about the surveillance and the investigation of the President of the United States in the clearest terms, and we haven't even heard a word from a single member of the Gang of Eight denying one iota of these claims.
Well, a couple things. First, Lou, you're right. You can't trust anything Andy McCabe says. He wants everyone to believe he's a Boy Scout, but he lied 3 times under oath. He's under investigation by the Justice Department. He was fired because he lied. And what did he lie about? He lied about the leaks that he did to certain newspapers to make himself look better back during the Clinton investigation. So, A, you can't trust anything he says. B, we don't know what he told the Gang of Eight. We don't know how he spun it, what he said. And I guess the third point I would make is we know there was nothing going on because James Comey even told us when we deposed him that up until the time he was fired, that's May of 2017, they had nothing that showed any type of coordination, collusion, conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia to impact the election. So all the way up to that date, they had nothing.
You're giving me a choice.
They still have nothing.
Do I believe McCabe or do I believe Comey? That's a very tough choice, Congressman.
Well, all I'm saying is you can't trust Andy McCabe, and we have no idea what he told the Gang of Eight, how they spun it, what they said. What we do know is during those critical 8 days in May, between the date May 9th, 2017, when Comey is fired, May 17th, 2017, when Bob Mueller's named special counsel, these guys were up to no good then. In particular, they were focused on Rod Rosenstein had said he was going to wear a wire to record the president, and they were talking about communicating with cabinet members and invoking the 25th Amendment, which is scary that those kind of things were going on at the highest levels of our Justice Department.
And your thoughts on the meeting among the president, Mueller, and Rosenstein, and whether or not that might have been an effort to, if you will, achieve the same result as wearing a wire?
Yeah, who knows? All we know is that these key people, the top people at the FBI, Comey was fired. Andy McCabe, deputy director, lied 3 times under oath, as I said, was fired. Jim Baker, chief counsel, was first demoted, then left, now also under investigation by the Justice Department. Lisa Page, FBI counsel, was demoted, then left. And Peter Strzok, deputy head of counterintelligence, was demoted, then fired. These were the people who orchestrated, ran the Clinton investigation, and then launched and ran the Russian investigation. And those last 4, McCabe, Baker, Strzok, and Page, they're the ones in that critical week I talked about were plotting the overthrow, plotting the ouster of the President of the United States, which is, as I said before, just unbelievable that was going on.
Yeah, and if true, the acquiescence of the Gang of Eight, the ranking members as well as the majority members of the Senate and the House in that group acquiesced. And if they did so, they are complicit in the most nefarious assault on the presidency and this government in the history of the country.
Again, I wasn't in that meeting. Eight members of Congress are in that meeting. I don't know what they were told, how the FBI spun it. We do know Devin Nunes was in that meeting, and Devin's been on top of this and pushing in the right direction and doing a great job over the last 2 years. So my guess is it was spun in a way that, who knows how it was presented to them. But the other key point is, Lou, these 4 people, Baker, McCabe, Strzok, and Page, none of them are elected. None of them have ever had their name on a ballot and been elected by the American people. And frankly, none of those 4 are confirmed by the Senate. And yet they're plotting this, planning this, trying to remove the guy that we made President of the United States. That is scary, and that's why we need, more than anything else, I think the takeaway here is we need Rod Rosenstein and Andy McCabe in front of the Oversight Committee, under oath, answering questions in front of God and everybody so the American people can evaluate who's telling the truth, who's lying, what actually took place there, who was in this meeting. When Rod Rosenstein has said that he was thinking about wearing a wire to record the commander-in-chief, thinking about invoking and using the 25th Amendment to remove the president from office, who was he communicating this to? Who were the key people in those meetings? We need to know all that, and the only way to get that is to bring him in and put him under oath in front of the committee.
I wish I had your confidence that we would learn the truth from that process. We watched it for 2 years. Well, actually longer than that, but 2 years under this president, in which we didn't learn, frankly, a lot, even with a Republican majority doing ostensibly its best, but leading to no significant result. We don't even know at this point. I mean, I don't even know what happened to the Office of Inspector General. Michael Horowitz, where is he? What has happened? Where are those missing texts between Strzok and Page? Where are those laptops? Where are those phones? Where still is the evidence in the Southern District that presumably includes the laptop of former Congressman Weiner? We have so many unanswered questions, and we know that the NSA congressman has the ability to reconstruct those texts like that. And no one has done it. The intelligence community that is assailing still this president, even with his own appointees in place, is still not producing those texts. This president should, in my opinion, why in the world are they not being demanded by the Justice Department, by the FBI?
Yeah, we've asked for him to, the president, to declassify certain things so we can see him. Michael Horowitz's report is due late spring, early summer on the FISA process. John Huber, the U.S. attorney who Jeff Sessions tapped to do his investigation. We haven't heard anything from Mr. Huber. So we have those two investigations
out there.
He's a fiction,
is he not? I mean, he surely can't even exist.
I haven't seen him. I haven't heard the first thing from him.
What is the mindset in Washington, D.C., in this federal government, that you can lose laptops, you can lose phones of the most culpable, guilty actors in this entire sordid scandal, and all these texts, and the investigators, and by the way, 2 years goes by, a year goes by, a year and a half, and nothing happens. That's insane. Somebody is playing a very obvious game.
And it's what drives the American people most crazy, is this double standard. One set of rules for you and I and the folks that I get the privilege of representing, but a different set of rules if your name is Clinton, Comey, Strzok, Page, McCabe. You get a different set of rules. That's what drives Americans crazy. Look, we can only do in Congress. We can bring people in, we can ask the questions, and we can get as much information to the American people as possible. In the end, if people are going to be prosecuted. And remember, McCabe and Baker are under investigation by the Justice Department. In the end, though, only the Attorney General and the Justice Department can prosecute these individuals. We'll see what the new Attorney General does now that he's in office.
You know, and no one has done more than you to try to get to the truth in these sordid times. At the same time, it is almost impossible for the American people to think that a conservative, a Republican, and if your name is Trump, you haven't got a chance in hell. Because your own party is aiding and abetting this unrelenting assault, witch hunt, whatever you want to call it, against a president. And everyone knows he is blameless, that there's no evidence, and yet the farce goes on.
Yeah, no evidence of any type of coordination, but we know the basics, and we should always come back to this. The Clinton campaign paid Perkins Coie law firm, who paid Fusion GPS, who hired a foreigner, Christopher Steele, who went and talked to a few Russians, never went to Russia, put together this fake dossier that is salacious and unverified. Jim Comey's words, not mine. Took that dossier then. The FBI did. Strzok, Page, Baker, McCabe, these same people took this misproven, disproven dossier, took that and made that the basis to go to the FISA court to get a warrant to go spy on Trump's campaign. That is what they did. And when President Trump wins, then they say, well, we can get him now after he fires their best buddy, Jim Comey. And that's what they set out to do, and looking for ways to do that in that critical 8 days in May. And now we're finally getting the truth about what they were thinking and what they were up to during that time frame.